I'm going to be so honest with you that when I put my details in to get my human design chart for the first time, I was like, clearly I'm going to be one of the rare types. I'm going to be a reflector. That's only 2% of the population. And then I just turned out to be a regular, degular generator that is, the majority of the population.
Welcome to the Love Siren podcast, your weekly dose of enchantment for the modern romantic. I'm Dahlia, your queer, poly, feminist witch, guiding you into your most magnetic, irresistible siren self. If you're craving ocean deep love, delicious confidence, and results that last, you've just unlocked the right portal. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get into it.
Okay, so before we begin, I just want to offer a really big disclaimer that anything that you don't like about human design, by all means, just leave it on the side of the road. I love human design. I have gotten a lot out of it. It has given me a lot of peace and direction in my life, but I also have read for I think over 50 plus charts, and I've definitely had people who don't resonate at all with their chart. My first instinct is that they probably get their birth time wrong, but who knows? A lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about is what I like to call specifically vague, right? And I find that psychics and comedians have this in common, which I don't know if this is why I love stand-up comedy and witchcraft, but I just definitely notice it in both of these things. So I'm sure that you know that feeling of when you watch a stand-up special and there's hundreds of people in the audience, and yet the comedian is doing a joke where you're kind of like, how is this person inside of my brain? How did they know that this is exactly how I've been feeling about this particular subject? And it is because they are able to be specific enough to make you feel like they're talking directly to you, but vague enough that it could be towards anybody. Psychics can also utilize this very specifically vague thing, right? I'm sure you've gotten a reading and they've been like, it seems like you're going through a transition or change right now. And you're like, yeah, well, when are you not going through transition or change, right? And I think that psychics, astrology, anything in this kind of realm can get a very bad rep as having a lot of scammers. But in my personal opinion, there are scammers in every single field. I think there's two reasons for it. One, obviously people are skeptic, right? People are skeptic of psychics. People are skeptic of getting readings, which I think is fair. I think you should be. But I think the other piece of it is that there's a lot of people who are massively out of touch with themselves and massively out of touch with their inner compass, that they can get kind of swept away by a narrative that is given to them. And especially if you are a skeptic who is watching a friend of yours or a loved one get a reading and then kind of take it and run, it's very easy for you to kind of be like, this is all hooey. I've had some incredible readings that are freaky, and then I've had some other readings that I've been like, what are you talking about? But I really do feel like either way, both of them are just reflective tools. Both of them are kind of like, okay, if this is presented to you, if this future is presented to you, do you want that? All of that is super helpful information. And at the end of the day, you still have free will. You get to choose what your destiny is, which is so cool and so fun. And I think that one of the things that I love about witchcraft is that you can have a little bit more of a say in what your destiny is by being able to cast these spells, by being able to kind of manifest, write down your intentions, etc., etc. Okay, side tangent over. Thank you so much for purchasing a ticket on this train of thought with me. Let's get back to human design. So, human design combines astrology, the chakra system, I Ching, and Kabbalah. And it's really interesting because I think that astrology has been adopted into the mainstream culture. Like if you pull up a Cosmopolitan, you will be able to check your sign, right? Almost everybody knows what their sun sign is, but so many people don't know what their human design type is. And there's only 5. So there's generators, manifesting generators, manifestors, projectors, and reflectors. Each type moves through the world very differently than the last one. That's why some people are able to just continue to like go, 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 while others get burnt out super quickly. At Love Siren Witchery, I primarily do one-on-one coaching because I want to be able to work with your specific energy type, your specific profile, your limiting beliefs, your history, etc., to help you create this beautiful dream life that you're trying to achieve. But I also recognize it's a little unattainable for people, just price-wise, commitment-wise, etc. And so I'm creating an Art of Lovemancy class, which I'm not ready to talk about yet. This is like only like the teeniest, tiniest little tease about what's to come. But it's been really interesting because I am so one-on-one focused, and it's been really hard for me to create a course that has all of this wisdom that I want to share with people in this very general way when I know that people are so massively different based off of their types. If you are interested, the waitlist is live. I will make sure that that is linked in the description. I will say it is going to take me a little while. I have been thinking, ruminating, obsessing over this course for months, basically since last year. And I'm getting there. I'm getting there, but it is taking me much longer than I expected it to. Is this my most ADHD episode yet? Very possible. Sorry. To get your human design chart, go ahead, just search for it. You're going to need your birthday, your birth time, and your birth location. If you don't know your time, you can use a pendulum to help you. Ask your mom. Even if you know if it's like morning, afternoon, night, that will help you significantly. And then usually for somebody that doesn't know what their chart is, I will pull up like 1 hour before, 1 hour after, what their best guess is, and whatever chart they resonate with the most, that's the one that we'll use. Okay, so let's move through the types. So we have manifestors. They are the initiators in the collective. I like to think of manifestors as the match head, where they strike their ideas and then they bring that to the collective. Famous manifestors include Frida Kahlo, Maya Angelou, the creator of human design, Ra, and Gloria Steinem. Manifestors are super cool. They're about 8 to 9% of the population, and they are not designed to wait. They're designed to create movement in this planet. But they will face resistance if they create without informing other people. Manifestors will always need help from the other energy types to help bring their vision to life. Next up, we have generators. I am a generator, and if you ever get a human design reading by me and you are also a generator, then I will be saying we the entire time. Generators are super cool. I like to think of them as football players where if I get lit up by something, I can just go. I just charge ahead. And I really noticed it when I was building my website for this business and building this business in general. I would spend 16-hour days, and it would be like I would get to a stopping place in building something and I would come up for air and I would be like, oh my God, I'm so thirsty. I'm so hungry. I have to pee so bad. But because I'm just so in the zone, I don't even notice. Generators are about 32 to 38% of the population, and we are the sustainable workforce energy. We're here to respond to things, not self-start, which when I first heard this, I felt like it was a little disempowering. But honestly, this business was created because I know so many people who are so incredible and just a little unlucky in love, but all of it feels so fixable. That's why I felt so inspired to make this business. And honestly, I mean, the response that I've had has been absolutely incredible. Thank you all so much. Famous generators beyond myself include Albert Einstein and Walt Disney. Next up, we have manifesting generators, which is a combination of both manifestors and generators. They are roughly 32 to 36% of the population, which if you have been doing the math at home, you may notice that generators are about 70% of the population. And so we very much live in a generator world, and especially with capitalism, where our society really rewards that generator behavior, that ability to just be able to work as much as you possibly can, it can be really hard on the other energy types to be able to find your place in this world, to feel like you have a place where you are actively contributing, which is part of the reason why I love human design so much and why I do my readings, because I want you to feel so empowered by your sign. And when you know it, when you know how you're supposed to move through the world, it means that you can be equipped to move through just that much more easily. I lovingly refer to manifesting generators as the ADHD sign of the collective, though I will be very honest with myself. I feel like this episode has been zigging and zagging just as much. But manifesting generators, they are designed to jump from hobby to hobby, from topic to topic. So you might find a manifesting generator is reading multiple books at once. Maybe they're taking a couple different courses at the same time. They love having jobs that isn't the same thing every single day. Sometimes manifesting generators can skip a lot of steps, and then that causes them to have to kind of go back to be able to fix the mistakes that they made. Taika Waititi is my absolute favorite example of a manifesting generator. He's a director, he's an actor, he's a sculptor, he's a fashion designer. He does so many different things, and all of those modalities help influence each other. Next, we have projectors, and God, I love a projector. I love being able to have a projector in my life. I like to think of them as the bird's eye view, especially like, you think of like a football game. They're like the camera right above the field, and they're like, okay, so if this player goes here, then that player is going to go here, and then if this goes this, and then that goes that. Projectors are about 20 to 22% of the population, so they're a bit on the rarer side, but definitely like a big chunk. And they do require significantly more rest than a typical generator does. So this is exactly what I mean about how generators get rewarded for our work ethic, whereas projectors have really incredible skills that, when utilized, can be so valuable to the collective. But because they can't work at the same level that a generator does, they might not be rewarded in the same typical way. And so knowing that, you can kind of be able to start thinking, okay, well, if I can't get rewarded in this like 9 to 5 way, how can I be able to get rewarded while also being able to honor how much rest I need? Famous projectors include Barack Obama, John F. Kennedy, and Nelson Mandela. And lastly, we have reflectors. These are the mirrors of our environment, of our community, of our society. They are only 1 to 2% of the population, making them the rarest type of human design type. Reflectors are extremely sensitive to their environment. They are ones where they need to have a lot of peace, a lot of calm, and a lot of space. A lot of the human design types, they need either like one moment or a couple of days to make a decision, whereas reflectors need an entire lunar cycle or 28 days. Which, again, it's just not rewarded in our society. If you get a job offer, you kind of have to make a decision on if you want that job within 24 hours. You can't wait a full month to be like, okay, yes, I've decided that I'm ready now. Famous reflectors include H.G. Wells, who wrote War of the Worlds, and Margaret Atwood, who wrote The Handmaid's Tale. Both of these authors I find really interesting and excellent examples of reflectors, because they took where society was at the moment that they wrote the books, and they saw everything that was going on and came up with a story of like, okay, if we keep going down this track, this is what's going to happen. So I mentioned this before, but I love human design because it gives you actionable steps on how you are supposed to move through the world, and it can also be applied to your love life. There can be a lot of misalignment that happens. So, for example, generators can chase instead of respond. Projectors can try to prove their worth instead of waiting to be chosen or invited. And manifestors can hold back their desires to avoid conflict. But it goes beyond that too. I really love knowing both my type and also my partner's type. For example, I'm seeing a woman who's a reflector, and I am very cautious and very conscious of my energy when I see her. I make sure that I take time to ground myself and to be in that very joyful energy, so that way she doesn't feel exhausted when she's with me. Earlier in the episode, I mentioned specifically vague, and I want to tell you about one of the more life-changing parts of my human design chart that helped me. So when I am living out of alignment, I experience frustration. And when I'm living in alignment, I experience satisfaction. And you might be sitting there thinking, well, duh, of course you do. Which I absolutely agree with. However, the main difference is that now when I experience frustration, that is a signal to myself. That is a moment where I can be like, oh, I'm frustrated. How can I change this? And I think before I discovered this, I would just kind of push through in a very classic generator way because I could handle it. I could handle being frustrated. And of course, that's just life. Life is always going to have frustrations. But the main difference is now I am able to take that as a signal and start to really look at, okay, how can I minimize how much frustration I have in a day? Which, if you listen to my previous episode of How I Cultivate Peace, a lot of that was derived from after I discovered this from my human design profile. Unfortunately, there can be so much conditioning and so many external influences that causes you to get away from your human design signature. So you think about family, culture, school, relationships, all of these things that can shape your behavior away from your natural design. Like I mentioned before, we are built in a generator world. There can be this very consistent work ethic and this pushing through hard things that can be really detrimental to some other types. It creates a lot of disconnect from your body signals, from your energy limits, from your natural rhythm because you don't have that information. So, for example, a projector that's trying to hustle will absolutely lead to burnout, or generators that are trying to force things to happen that don't light them up can lead to frustration. Manifestors suppressing urges can lead to anger. My favorite part is that when you have the awareness, it means you get choice in the matter. I don't think I've mentioned this on the podcast yet, but I'm a high school dropout who also has a master's degree. Me dropping out of high school was absolutely the correct decision. There's no doubt in my mind it was one of the smartest things I had done for myself. But me getting my master's degree, honestly, it was really stupid, and I just wanted to prove that I was smart. I was able to do it because, again, I'm able to push through. I'm able to make it happen. But now I'm like, God, that was such a waste. What a waste of time. What a waste of energy. What a waste of money. Like now I feel really confined because I would actually like to get a different master's degree now. But I'm like, well, I have all this debt from this first one. So I guess I'm just stuck. I think that if I was more connected to my intuition, I know that I would have been like, this isn't the right choice. But I just felt scared and I wasn't sure. And, I am glad that I have it. I do think that it gives me better job prospects, etc. Like everything worked out the way that it was supposed to work out. But I know that if I was a different design type, I probably wouldn't have had the ability to just like push through. I probably would have been like, this isn't working. Let me try to find something that is working. Again, a lot of this is very specifically vague. Most likely, you can go through life and start experimenting with what feels easy, what feels forced. Notice your decisions, notice your energy levels, and you probably don't even need human design to be able to kind of help you get there. But wouldn't it be so nice if you just had this cheat code that told you what you were supposed to do? When I first started reading my human design chart, there was a few things that I absolutely did not resonate with. But unfortunately, now as I've gotten more into my more authentic self, I definitely have noticed that those things that I didn't resonate with 5 years ago, I absolutely resonate with now. And so I think about the things that I don't resonate with my chart now, and I think, oh, if I reach my fullest potential, will that all of a sudden feel more correct? And I don't know. But I feel very comfortable taking what I like about my human design chart and kind of leaving what doesn't resonate with me. I also just want to reinforce that you are not broken and there are no bad types. If you do end up Googling Ra, the creator of human design, he absolutely has some opinions that I think most modern practitioners don't agree with. Like he thinks that there are things that are negative or detrimental. And I would say most human design practitioners take a much more gray approach. This isn't an instant transformation, but it is a way to help you kind of decondition what you have learned and offer some awareness on how you might move forward in the future. If you are feeling burnt out, if you are feeling like things aren't working for you, it's entirely possible that you're just not using the right strategy. I do want to mention that I do offer human design readings. I do both general reading if you just want like all of the nitty gritty of your chart, and I also offer a love reading that combines both human design and also astrology. I would love to know how this episode resonates with you. Are you somebody that you have never even heard of human design, or are you somebody who already knows like all of the ins and outs of your chart? This was such a brief episode of human design, and if you are interested in a more in-depth episode, I would love to give that to you. Sometimes I really struggle with the fact that I'm like such a nerd for this stuff and I know so much that it can be hard for me to determine what is the most useful for people. And again, this is part of the reason why I love that one-on-one work. Oh my goodness, I also forgot that I found out that people have been leaving reviews on my podcast, which I'm not much of a podcast person, so I didn't know that reviews were like a thing or that's something that I would be eligible for, which like it feels really silly when I say it out loud, but it's what I thought. I assumed that you needed like some metric to be able to be eligible for reviews. But thank you. Some names I recognize, some names I don't recognize. And if you did leave a review and you want to send me a screenshot of what you wrote, I would love to gift you a self-love subliminal as just a little thank you. And this is a forever offer. So if you are also just learning that you can leave reviews on this podcast, then you can leave one and I will send that to you. Just email me at oracle@lovesirenwitchery.com. I hope you have an amazing week and I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. Thank you as always, and I love you.